those of us who have academic training, and particularly those who had the academic training in a communist world, ended up with the feeling that there is no reconciliation between spirituality and science. And for me, it was the work with non-ordinary states, particularly those that have healing and transformative and evolutionary power. The group that I call holotropic, transformed me. I definitely was an atheist, coming from a family where there was no, religious tradition, and then going from that into materialistic training in medicine. And it was paradoxically for me, it was in an experiment. I volunteered for an LSD session, a situation when I was in a scientific setting, in a scientific experiment, and I walked into that room as an atheist, and I, came out in the evening as a mystic. Yes. So what happened? The major, transformation happened really in one day, and then of course there were many experiences afterwards that sort of confirmed it further and added new dimensions to it, but a radical transformation in one day.
What was it about this that experience so powerful to change all your system of beliefs or convictions?
Are you asking about that first experience?
Yeah. It looks like a turning point, that experience.
A major shift.
Well, I had a teacher, a preceptor, who was very interested in electroencephalography, and at the time when I had the session, he was particularly interested in the effect of a powerful stroboscopic light on the brainwaves. So those of us who had this experience, we had to also had this experiment of being exposed to that light. And when that light first came, my consciousness was catapulted out of my body, and I lost a research assistant and a clinic in Prague, and then the planet. And I had the feeling that what I was before was absolutely extinguished, and I had the feeling of becoming all of existence. And on the way back from that experience, I actually was in the astronomical universe, and there were things happening for which I didn't even have a name. Later I heard about the Big Bang and black holes and white holes and wormholes and so on. It was something in that category. And so this was this magnificent kind of experience that was happening, and the research assistant was following protocol, and started from 2 cycles per second, going up to 60 and then back, and left it for a while in the alpha range and the theta range and the delta range as the protocol asked for. And when this was happening, I was having this amazing experience. And then she turned it off, and my universe started shrinking again, and I found Prague and found the clinic and found my body. But then for a while, my consciousness was kind of floating around my body, and I had difficulties getting those two together. And at that point, it became absolutely clear to me that what they taught me, the university, that consciousness is somehow generated by the brain, simply was not true. That consciousness was something cosmic, something that had, dimensions that were way beyond anything that could happen in the brain, and that the brain certainly has something to do with consciousness, but it's more like mediating it rather than creating it. And this is a position that you find in the great spiritual philosophies of the East, and that then was confirmed in the future by research with other people and also my own sessions, in the future. And that sort of forced me to completely change my understanding of psychology.
In which way? In which way did you change?
It changed in many ways. I came into this work as a Freudian analyst, where the idea is that our psychological history starts after we are born. Freud said that the newborn is a tabula rasa, it's a clean slate, there's nothing there. And who we become is a result of what kind of nursing we had, the toilet training, the dynamics in the family, and so on. And in this work, it became clear that the human psyche is just vastly larger. So the first major change was to recognize and accept the enormity, the dimensions of the psyche. That in some sense, the psyche of each of us is actually commensurate with all of existence. And that our individual consciousness, our individual psyche is kind of teased out of that cosmic fabric. And that these boundaries are not absolute, that in these holotropic states, in these non-ordinary states, we can transcend those boundaries and we can experience ourselves as anything that's part of the cosmos. So that was the first major change, and then I was working with clients, and according to my Freudian training, the roots of the problems, if they were not organic, was all in infancy and childhood. And in this work it became clear that the roots go much, much deeper. There was always connection to the trauma of birth, and then beyond that to karmic matrices, to what Jung called archetypal dimension, mythological dimension, sometimes even going back into ancestors and animal ancestors, which would seem to be really bad news. The roots of the problems we're working on are much, much deeper than we thought. And now the exciting part was that there were also very powerful new mechanisms of healing and transformation. So it became possible to actually confront those deep roots and reach, in many instances, healing that's just not possible with anything that's available to psychiatry today.